Welcome back to 0 to 60. Today we're back in the Stage 1 tuned MHD 335i.
And this episode is going to be a comparison of version 8 versus version 9 MHD Stage 1 maps. Let's get into it. So we're out on the drive. We've actually had this engine running for the best part of 20 to 25 minutes, and temp is nearly up at that 120. Now we know with this car, when you've done 3 or 4 runs, the oil temp will be just under 120 degrees. So we want to try and get it as close to that as we can before we do the full-on performance test. Now with the performance tests, we're going to do a 60 to 120 kilometer highway acceleration in both drive and sports mode. Then we're going to do our normal 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, and we're going to do an 8th mile for the first time ever.
And obviously, then we'll update the maps, do it all again with the new maps, and just see how different across the board between those different scenarios, just in case the maps perform differently between drive and sports mode and at different RPM ranges and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of hype online about these new maps, and I think they've come as a response to RFP's fire maps, which we still haven't tried. So we'll see what these version 9s are going to be like. Just touching on this has been on version 8. This is the one that we did the version 7.1 verse 8 video on a couple of months ago. Obviously it's not our car, and we didn't get really a lot of chance to drive it, but it has done 136,000 kilometers, and it's completely stock, apart from it's now got the dual cone intakes. It has now got a charge pipe on, which was a bit of a failure. Click up in the corner if you want to see that fail. And MHD. Oh, and the muffler delete.
Ah, yes.
So it's a relatively standard car. It's not had much maintenance. It has had the spark plugs done, but it's been really problem-free. No engine lights. Everything works fine on this car. We get no overboost codes, no issues at all. It's a bit of a freak, though.
It's an N54. What do you expect?
The absolute opposite. Okay, after a quick V-Box fail to record moment, we're just going to skip straight to the 8th mile runs. So we're going to do 2 attempts, both in sport. First one with traction on. So this should measure 0 to 100, 8th mile, and actually we'll get the
60 to 120 as well.
Yeah.
So,
ready?
We are good.
Traction on, just went straight to flat out. It's pretty doughy.
It's picking up.
Certainly when we've done the 8th.
Yep. Oh, hang on, I don't know. That's probably it. That feels like that's definitely it. That was pretty good.
What did it do, 0 to 100?
6.11.
Yep.
And 60 to 120 was 4.49.
Okay.
Jump into the distance, the 8th mile was 9.48.
Not brilliant. We do know that this car has gone half a second quicker on the 0 to 100 on a better surface. So this isn't the best surface to be doing this on. But we'll have another go with traction off this time. Are we all ready?
I'll set it in a second. Okay, ready to go.
Felt quite good.
That feels pretty good, yeah. And that should do it. Okay, the 0 to 100 was a bit quicker that time. It was 5.49. Sorry, 5.94.
Okay, so that was just quickest time.
Yeah, and the 60 to 120 was 4.54. So that was a bit better in sports mode.
Do we get the 8th?
The 8th mile was 9.37.
Similar time. Okay, so we've got some data there to compare. The only one thing I do want to try, that 60 to 120 in pure drive mode, as if you're just accelerating on the highway and you haven't got time to put it in sports mode. So we'll get that in 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go flat out from 50 kilometers an hour.
Just in D.
In D. Ready?
Go.
Kick down was alright. Say when.
Yep. And he got 4.49.
So we've done quite a few 60 to 120s, all at 4.49. The car is definitely at the 120 oil temp now, which is good.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent, but that's a fair bit of data. Gives us a pretty good idea of what this map's doing.
And I think we should try same thing in sports mode.
Okay. Yep, we are reset. We're at 50 k's now. We're just above 50.
I'll just drop it down a bit.
In sport mode.
And good to go?
Yep.
So straight to the 4.
Yep. I think it shifts differently. She feels quick. It's not slow, it's pretty quick. 4.43.
So very, very similar.
Again, yeah, very consistent.
That is cool. Yeah, so that's going to conclude the MHD version 8 tests. And yeah, this car runs perfectly on these version 8 maps. It is only the stage 1. I do know guys were getting a lot of timing corrections and warning lights on the stage 2 maps. Yeah, this car seems to run absolutely fine. Let's get back to the shop and get the version 9 loaded up.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've had the version 9 mapped on the car, and for the first time ever with MHD on this car, the car's not performing perfectly. How would you describe what it's doing?
Well, to be fair, it does rev. Free revs very nicely, very clean, and the power feels really, really nice and crisp. But it's like a pulse. It's a hesitation at constant RPM, constant load.
Yeah, I'd call it an oscillation.
Oscillation, alright.
I'll see if I can get it to do it going up this hill, but basically light load, the car is oscillating. I can almost feel it now.
Yeah, you're right, that's not smooth, is it?
No, hopefully I'll be able to pick it up on the tacho going up this hill.
But here we go.
It's smooth now.
Feels okay.
No, it's pulsing. So yeah, basically it's like the power's coming in and out. We're talking maybe 5% power is going in and out, in and out, in and out.
And only at that very smooth acceleration.
So before we go and do the performance test, we're just going to pop back to the shop and do basically an adaptation reset on the throttle body, O2 sensors, just everything.
Just in case that
is what's causing the weirdness. Alright, we'll see you guys in a second.
Well, that didn't go to plan.
No, so I'm not sure how this video is going to edit up because it's all choppy and we're all over the shop. Just to reiterate, the plan was to compare version 9 to version 8, but when we had that oscillation problem, it's thrown a spanner in the works, and I didn't want to go and thrash the car and do a performance test when it's running like this. Now, unfortunately, Dylan, because he's not like a full-on mad car nut, he hasn't paid for monitoring with MHD, so that does make it a little bit more difficult to work out what's going on. But we're thinking this car is on its original low pressure fuel pump, so it could be a fuel pump issue. It's on its original coils, could be a coil issue. So maybe that spirited driving it had this morning has stressed something out.
Yeah, it could just be a complete coincidence that it's happened after doing those pulls.
We didn't say, sorry. We've put version 8 back on,
and
it's still oscillating.
Yeah, when it started doing it with the new maps, we went, okay, and then reset the adaptations, went back to work, put the version 8 back on, and it's driving exactly the same. Well, actually, not completely exactly the same.
No, something that we have noticed in playing with it, when it's on version 9, it revs quicker.
Yeah, it feels more like a tuned car. It feels more lively.
I'm really excited to see what version 9's like. Anyway, look, we're going to wrap this video up here because it could be a bit of a never-ending story. There will be a follow-up once we work out what the hell's causing this oscillation. But look, sorry we couldn't provide you with a good bit of information.
But if you do, like we are gonna... We'll get it sorted, but if you have any if you know what it could be,
let us know. Yeah, this car doesn't get used as a daily. We're not going to have time to fix it today. We're actually running out of time. Yeah, so if you know what it is, I'm going to get this video edited tonight. It'll go straight up. If you know what it is, please let us know down below. Things to check, things to try.
Yeah, and if we get it fixed by next weekend, we'll then put the version 9 back on
and have a proper comparison test.
Yeah, because the way it was driving before and the way it's revving, it feels crisp. I reckon it's going to be good.
Yeah, and although we didn't do a full, flat-out launch, we did do one little pull on boost to see if it was trying to adapt or learn or something, and it did feel really strong.
Yeah, it feels good.
Alright guys, look, thank you very much for watching,
And we'll hopefully see you in the next one with the new maps.
Okay, so I'm just finishing the edit up now, ready to make it live, and something I just wanted to add to anyone that might be able to help. So I did some reading and realised that a couple of people had a similar problem, and it was basically due to the adaptations getting reset and then not relearning properly. So since what was mentioned in the video, I've then gone and done a full map rewrite, one of the 30-minute or 38-minute map rewrites with MHD. I also then went and tried a full adaptation reset with ISTA. After both instances, for about a minute or two, the car drives perfectly, and then it starts to do this oscillation again. After the ISTA reset, in fact, the oscillation was probably worse initially. So I'm thinking it's got to be something to do with either the fuel trim adaptation, the octane adaptation, or the throttle adaptation. And I'm assuming it's got something to do with the part being worn out on this car that had maybe sort of learned its way into running properly. Then when we put that map on today, it's reset it to some sort of normal default setting, and then it's all just sort of gone out the window. So guys, if you have got any idea what's causing this, it'd be really helpful. I've ended up, I've actually got the car for the whole week now, which is good. So if you can recommend anything, I'd love to try it and get this car running. We did, oh god, I think we flashed it 3 times today trying different things. It's currently got map 9 on it again, and I've done about 100 kilometers in it now, just in case it's a learning thing. And yes, the more kilometers I do, the better it gets, but it still seems to have this oscillation problem every now and again under light load. It's between sort of 1500 RPM and 2000 RPM. I also noticed that if you try and hold the revs in neutral around 3000 RPM, it almost sounds like it's misfiring, but it's not. It's just hunting aggressively. Bit of a weird one. Really would love any help with this one. Sorry the video hasn't turned out quite how we wanted, but the joys of playing with cars. Alright guys, have a great week. We'll catch you on the next one.